In this video, we're going to go over loan payments. So similar to what we did in the previous section, we're going to introduce formulas that include the idea that we're going to make a monthly payment. I mean, I suppose it doesn't have to be monthly, but usually it is monthly to a loan and what that looks like. So here's our two formulas using all the same variables we've seen. The difference is they're calling the loan formula P, where P is the principal or the amount of the loan. And then they're still using D to represent the loan payment. Okay, so let's just dive in and use these formulas. It's going to be similar to what we've seen. And kind of just see how they work. So let's say you want to borrow some money to pay off a credit card. That's actually a really smart idea. Credit card interest rates are very high. They usually are like 20% or more, depending on how good your credit is. So yeah, it's very high. So if you can borrow money from your bank at a much lower interest rate, you're going to end up spending a lot less in interest. Okay, so you want to borrow $4,000 and there are three choices, a 2-year loan, 3-year loan, and 4-year loan. And then the interest rate grows based on how long you're going to take, which makes sense. The bank is taking a risk every time they are loaning money for a longer period of time. They're risking not getting as much back from you. Okay, so you can only afford $150. So we need to figure out what the payments would be for each of these loans and see which ones we can afford. So let's start with the 2-year loan. And I'm not going to write the formula. I'm going to go ahead and let you look at your printout and use that. So let's see. D is going to equal 4,000 times. Okay, so the first one at 2 years is 8%. And then again, because it's a monthly payment, it's going to be for 12 is the N, based on the fact that it's a monthly payment. Okay, and then that's going to be divided by 1 minus 1 plus 0.08 over 12 to the negative 12 times 2. All right, so just like the last video, I'm going to go ahead and divide out those decimals and see what we get. So 0.08 divided by 12 comes out to 0.00 and then 6 repeating. So I'm going to go ahead and include 6 decimal places to ensure that I won't round it too much, which would be 0, 0, and then 6, 6, and then 7 for the last one because I round it. All right, all over. Okay, so this is going to be 1 minus so the 1 plus in the parentheses here, when I do the 1 plus, I'm going to go ahead and just add those two. So that's going to be 1.00667. I'm even going to drop the parenthesis. I don't need that because, and that'll be 2 times 12 is 24. All right, so that's what I'm going to plug into the calculator. Okay, so here I'm going to use that decimal I already have here. I'm going to times it by 4,000. I parentheses 1 minus 1.006667 raised to, okay, and then I have to put the 24 and then do the negative afterwards. So the negative button I hit after I put 24. Some calculators you put it in before. Close the parenthesis, hit equals, and there we go. I'm getting a payment of $180.90. All right. First payment. Okay, so that one's not going to work. I can't afford that payment. So the 2-year plan won't work. Let's look at 3 years. So 3-year is a 9%. So they just increased by 1%. So 9.09 divided by 12 over, okay, and then this will be 1 plus 0.09 divided by 12, and then negative 12 times 3 this time for the 3-year loan. And let's check. 0.09 divided by 12. I believe that comes out nicely. Yay! 0.0075. all over 1 minus 1.0075 to the negative 36. Okay, so I'm not going to show you plugging this in the calculator. I already plugged this in, and then you can just check your answer. I got 127.20. Okay, so 3-year loan, that one could work. All right, let's look at the 4-year. I have to write so big. And then I believe the interest rate just goes up 1% again, so it's 0.10 now, all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.10 over 12, this time 12 times 4. Okay, and then 0.10 divided by 12 does not come out nicely if I recall. Okay, 0, 0, 8, and then a bunch of 3's. 0, 0, 8, and then 3, 3, 3. All right, over 1 minus 1.008333 raised to the negative 48. Okay, squeeze in that bracket. Okay, plugging that in the calculator. You can pause the video and plug it in and then compare. I'm getting 101 point, oops, 101. I could technically do a 3-year loan or a 4-year. Argue that a 3-year loan is the better option. And the reason is you'll pay less in interest. Will allow you to pay less in interest. So if we can afford it, it really is smart to go ahead and do the 3-year loan. Now, if you really were hoping to save some money, this will, the 4-year loan, it will save you about $50 a month in terms of what you were able to spend. And hey, maybe that $50 is valuable to you. But honestly, anytime you could do a smaller loan, better, less interest. All right, let's go ahead and look at this. So let's say you can afford to pay $200 per month as a car payment, and you need to get a loan. All right, so real quick, just to kind of do the math, if you do $200 a month for 5 years or 60 months, that's going to be $1,200 or $12,000, sorry, $12,000, which is not going to be what you can take the loan out for because they're going to charge you interest. So our answer, whatever it's going to come out to be, is going to be less than if we were just putting the money in with no interest. Okay, just to kind of make a note about that. So if you were willing to save up the money for 5 years, you can actually get a better car or get it sooner. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So this formula, we're going to be using the other one. We're going to try to figure out what the loan is going to be based on the fact that we're going to make $200 payments. So again, I'm not going to write the formula. You can reference that on your paper. So P is going to equal 200 per month times 1 minus 1 plus 0.03 over 12 to the negative 12 times 5, which is 60, the 60 months. I'm sorry, yeah, 60 months, all over 0.03 over 12. Okay, so 0.03 over 12, that comes out very nicely. That is going to give me 0.0025. Nice. So that's what I'm going to write. So this is going to be 1 minus 1.0025 raised to the negative 60. Actually, I could have dropped the parenthesis, right? I didn't need to put the parenthesis over 0.0025. I'll go ahead and show plugging this into the calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1.00. Oh, sorry, here, let me just plug in everything in the numerator. So 200 parentheses 1 minus 1.0025 raised to the negative 60. Close the parenthesis. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit just to equals. And then I'm going to divide it by 0.0025. Oops, I think I didn't hit equals. Uh-oh, I didn't. Okay, let me try that again. I'm sorry. Let's do that again. That's all right. In fact, I'll go a little slower. I'm just going to do what's inside the bracket first. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the calculator first, and then multiply by 200, and then divide by 0.0025. So 1 minus 1.0025 raised to the negative 60 equals, okay, there we go, times 200 equals, divided by 0.0025 equals, there we go, that's better, 11,130.47. Oops, switch it back to the red pen. $11,130.47. So that's the loan. Obviously not the 12,000 we're going to spend, but not too far off because it's only 5 years. So we can afford to get a car that's about a little over $11,000.